Okay, so we're at our Balance Bound call tonight, and I'm super excited to have our guest, Lauren Friedman, on the call tonight, our fellow Team Phoenix leader. And I've been loving getting to know Lauren. I remember I met you for the first time at Summit last year. And I actually, if it's okay, I would share that you and I were kind of sharing our struggles with the business. And I feel like I remember you saying, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I've got a few coaches, but I didn't know. I didn't know where Lauren would be in 6 months. And it turns out she was our only Team Phoenix leader to hit 2-star in 2016. She went to the leadership conference in January of 2017. She's also a military mama, and she's potty training right now. And so she's super busy. Certified in Turbo Fire and
yeah,
teaching classes. So that's super cool. And just totally inspiring me to push outside my comfort zone. We meet every week on a leadership call, and definitely inspiring me to reach out to more people and hit those hairy, scary, crazy goals. So she's going to be talking to us about more like branding and finding our niche market, building our avatar, which I'm stoked about because that's something that I really need too. I remember hearing about from Platinum Edge, I remember hearing about our avatars. That's like where it became like a really big thing for me at the Platinum Edge conference. And I swear to God, Lauren, I had no idea what they were talking about. And I still have not had time. I don't know, excuses. It hasn't been a priority for me to build mine. So I'm super excited for the call tonight. I've got my notebook and pen. I'm ready to go. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on your call. I'm really excited about this topic because branding and finding your niche is like one of my favorite topics. I used to work in public relations and event planning and do branding and that kind of stuff, like pre-military spouse life. And so I just really like it. But I've already done this call for my own team, so I'm really excited to be able to bring it back because it's a good reminder. And I think that if you don't have a pen and paper in front of you, you're definitely going to want one because you're going to have a lot of writing that you're about to do, and probably after this call as well. But it's something that even looking at this now, because I pulled up my avatar and I was looking at it so I can show it to you guys at the end of the call. I'm like, I need to update this because I feel like there's more that I could have and a little bit more in depth at this point. But, it's really important to have a niche market because as much as it depends on your personality, I've always been a people pleaser type. And so, at first when I'd be posting, I just want to post things that everyone's going to like. And I don't want, anyone to not like my post and, disagree with how I feel about X, Y, Z. But I can't remember who said it on a call once, but they said if people don't unfollow you or don't unlike you, you're not doing your job, because you have to have a point of view in order for the right people to be attracted to you. If you just basically, I did the whole, trying to appeal to everyone. And a lot of those coaches that I have from that time that I recruited are no longer coaches, or they don't work the business. They're just kind of, sitting there enjoying their discount, which is totally fine. But my ones that I would say are more of my lifers, I definitely can see how they fit into my niche and who I am. And I think that those people, if you're reaching out, you'll get more quality folks if you kind of focus and target your posts. So we're going to go through the exercise. I'll show you what my avatar looks like, and then I'll kind of talk about how you can use it in the future with posting and just making it practical for yourselves. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. I feel like it's almost a therapy session right here about to go down. So, so what you need to know is, you need to figure out who your niche is, and you want to know what their struggles are. So you kind of like, this is the overarching thing, is you need to, for the reason you want to know, your niche is that you need to know what their struggles are and what your solution is for them and what makes you different. That's the whole thing with your brand. It's what is going to make you different. You know, why am I going to want to, you know, push play with Jacqueline versus Taylor versus Lauren versus Kris? You know, all of us are going to attract different people. I've had it so many times where I have friends, they have tons of other Beachbody friends on their feed, but they go, oh, I related to you because you do everything in moderation. I'm just not, you know, there where I eat clean, all whatever it is, they'll relate to you. So if you don't show what you believe in a little bit, you're not going out there trying to offend people, but if you don't actually show them what you believe in, you're not going to attract people to you, because they're not really going to know what you're all about. You're not really going to be authentic. So I think this, having a niche, kind of just gives you a place to be you, and just appreciate your flaws and your strengths. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So when you're drawing up your avatar, you kind of want to get a picture in your mind of, you know, what gender is your avatar. I'm going to guess that most of us are majority thinking women. I'm not saying we can only have women. I don't completely cut out men in my niche, but so you're going to picture most likely a woman, but gender, you know, what is your avatar's marital status? You know, are they married? Are they single? Are they divorced? You know, it can be a whole, you know, do they have kids? If they do have kids, you know, what kind of age range? Are we talking like preschool age? Are we having teenagers? Are they empty nesters? And honestly, you're going to find that most likely your niche market is going to be very similar to you, because you're going to be able to be more relatable and share that way. But I'm not saying everyone who's attracted to you has to exactly be, you know, Kris, liking Kris. Obviously, you guys are all different, but there's probably something that each of you has that you relate to her on. You know, what kind of what is their income? You know, are they someone that is juggling different jobs? Are they just working, you know, is your niche probably someone that's doing a 9 to 5? Are they working insane hours? Are they military? And just, you know, are they leaving and traveling a lot? So kind of having an idea of what they might be experiencing. What are their beliefs? You know, like Megan does a lot with being a believer, so that attracts a certain market to her. So, so that can be part of your niche if that's something that's very important to you. I'll give you a moment to write down any of your thoughts that you're having for a second, because before I get in, because it's like, this is a lot of, I'll be talking, then I'll pause so you can write, because there's a lot. So I'll give you guys a moment. Just give me a thumbs up when you feel like you're ready for me to, okay, cool. All right, so now we're gonna get into like the nitty gritty of it. What are your avatar's favorite books, music, TV shows, and magazines? So what kind of books do they read? Do you think they read more nonfiction, or do they not have time to read and they're going to just listen to audio? Just thinking about those things. You know, I have pretty eclectic music tastes, but some people really, you know, hate certain types. So what kind of music do they like? What kind of TV shows? Trying to be as specific as possible. And I said, what kind of magazines do they read? What kind of blogs do they follow? What do they Google? I love this one. It's like something I would not think of, but yeah, like what, you know, like I definitely appeal to my mom. I'm definitely a mom market type. If any of you are my friend, you'll see that pretty blatantly throughout the week. And so, you know, I've always like when I think of this question, I think of like when I had kids and I was like trying to Google like everything that was like, why aren't they sleeping? How do I potty train? So those kind of things, like what is your person probably like asking questions in Google? It's an interesting one. I like it. What kind of events and conferences do they attend? Are they someone that goes to concerts? Do they go out for work conferences? Are they someone that goes out and is more social? Do they go to festivals, or are they someone that is more likely to be a homebody and like to stay in? And then kind of along the same lines, what do they do in their free time? So what are their hobbies? And what are their guilty pleasures? So what are those things that maybe they don't want to admit, like, I like watching The Real Housewives, whatever it is, whatever the guilty pleasure is, like, what is it? Who do they idolize? All right. You guys good? If I keep going? I know it's like, and you'll probably come up with more things later as you're sitting there and you're thinking about it. And probably this week as you're living out your life, you're going to be like, oh no, like this person likes it. You'll be thinking more about the things you do and that you like. And these questions will kind of come to your brain. What are their favorite meals? What kind of car do they have? Or maybe they don't have a car. They could live in like New York City and walk. You don't know. But, thinking about those things. Where is their dream vacation? What kind of YouTube videos or websites do they go to on a daily basis? Or what kind of YouTube videos do they try and pull up? When you get stuck in the YouTube, rabbit hole, what are they watching? I'm always watching Fitness Marshall videos because he makes me laugh. But, like, who are they looking at? Like, are they watching funny videos of cats? Like, but thinking about those things. And then this isn't exactly in the same vein, but just in general, something else you kind of want to think about with your audience is, do they like language? Like, do they curse? Do they not? Because this is just kind of more of an aside, but, obviously if you curse, then, you just don't want to like never curse. And then the person hops on your team call and you drop the F-bomb and they're like, so it just, because there are some teams, like there are even, within the downline, like there's some teams that, are more conservative or would be offended by that, and others who won't. And that's the same thing when you're posting. So you have to think about that when you're posting certain stuff. Like, is your niche, is that something that's going to offend them? It probably, if it entertains you, then hopefully it wouldn't offend your niche, because you want people that are going to be like you. But don't try and basically be someone that you are not. So if you curse or you like a little sexual humor or whatever it is, don't, just let that, I don't want to say like let that shine through on your page, but just don't completely clean it up, because then if they meet you, they might not, they'll be like, what? They won't really know what they bargained for. So, so those are kind of just some little fun questions. Now we're going to get into like the part where I feel like I'm offering you a therapy session here. So, Yeah, see, word badass. Like, some people would be offended by that, but, I don't care. Like, if you've been on any of my team calls, like, a lot of us have, there have been, not on purpose, F-bombs dropped on those. So, but, it just kind of depends on your team, though, and your personal, your personal beliefs. So anyways, so the therapy session here, these ones, I'm going to read you the questions. I'll give you a couple of seconds or like a minute to answer each of them, but know that you're probably going to have to go back later and flesh it out. All right. So I actually feel like, because I did talk about this on the Team Phoenix page the other day, but how does your avatar feel when they are about to purchase a challenge pack? So yeah, and it's a lot of times you got to think about how you felt. Like, were you a little bit nervous? Were you just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna rock this? It just depends. Like, everyone's personality is different, but if you kind of understand that better and you put yourself in that mindset, it'll make it easier when you're approaching those people and talking them through it. It'll also help you deal with certain objections, because you'll get more used to understanding where it might be more of a fear or a personal struggle holding them back versus like an actual, like, they can't do it. What daily obstacles do they deal with? What is their worst case scenario? What do they worry about? And these are great questions to just think about, when you're talking to someone, thinking about what in their mind is, failure or would be a worst case that might be holding them back from, committing to a challenge group or following through. The understanding those worries will make it easier to tailor your conversation to kind of handle those objections before they even come up necessarily.
And Lauren, am I on the right page if I'm thinking like these are ultimately questions we're asking ourselves? So
yeah,
that
I feel like I'm giving you a therapy session. I mean, I'll be honest, I think we did get a video when I did my Dash to Diamond training, like back in the day. And there was a woman on it. I can't remember who it was. It was a very successful coach. And she was saying how she has her avatar, and it's like she has it being like very wealthy women who have the money to get or whatever it is, but it wasn't her. She's like, yeah, my avatar is not me, not like me. But I think it's hard to have an avatar that isn't like you, because I don't know how you connect with them by being yourself on social media and being authentic. So I guess for my intensive purposes, the way I like to teach it is it's someone that, it doesn't have to be exactly like you, but has, yes, asking yourself. So you can look at yourself, maybe your top tribe people or people that you would see as like, ooh, if they would join my team, that would be amazing. What kind of getting in that mindset of that's who you're probably going to be thinking of, your tribe and you. What does your solution offer them? So how are they going to benefit by getting a challenge pack, drinking Shakeology every day, and not just in the general sense of like, you get adaptogens and superfoods, like putting yourself in their freaking daily life. Like, how is that going to help them? An example I feel like I always use for me is because I started drinking Shakeology and my son still wasn't sleeping through the night. think he was like 11 months old. So I was like, it gives, like, when I talk about Shakeology, I was like, yeah, after like 3 days, I finally felt like I could function again and keep up with like a new mobile toddler. Like something that, and I put that kind of similar language in a lot of my posts about Shakeology, like keeping up with my kids or whatever. So just kind of thinking about more specific than just, adaptogens are great and they prevent your body from dealing with stress. Like, that is good information to have, but you want it to be specific to the people that you're trying to reach, so that when they read it, they're like, oh, you know what? Like Kris, she's the bomb, and she works so hard. She works like crazy hours. I think you said you were like on your feet for like 12 hours the other day. So like hers could be something like, having something convenient and healthy that's going to keep her full while she's up and dealing with work and being on her feet all day. So, thinking about that and kind of applying it to your life. How do they feel the first day of a program? So day one, how do they feel? And as I said, like a lot of these, you're probably going to go back later and kind of flesh it out, because you'll want to think about it a little more. And then how do they feel about halfway through? How does your avatar celebrate small victories? And then on the other side of it, how do they celebrate reaching big goals? Kind of having an idea of like, how does does she go get herself a mani-pedi? Does she, take herself out for, her treat meal? What does she do? So knowing that, kind of thinking about those things. And then what gives them purpose? So yeah, so understanding, what is important to them is really key. So, I have, as I've already said, I have a lot more than just mom, but moms is like one of my big areas that I have. And so a lot of them are constantly taking care of their kids and not taking care of themselves. So that's like with the new moms, young moms. So for them, their purpose is a lot of the times their kids, like taking care of their kids and being, the best mom they can be. And so a lot of the times I try and focus my content more on taking care of yourself in order to better take care of those around you and that kind of thing. So, so these questions are meant to be able to help you tailor your content so that you're really reaching those people that you want to reach. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my avatar so you can see it. I'll share my screen. All right. Do you remember how to, here we go. All right. So can you guys see my avatar right now? So this is my avatar. So I got to pick an awkward random picture of someone because it's like, they're like, in the exercise when I did it, it was, the person didn't pick a picture of themselves, but it's basically like a similar person. So I had to like creepily find a picture and Google it and be like, oh, this be my avatar. So here you go. But as you can see, I have like dog owner. Oh, my big ones are like my big things I feel like are part of my niche. So late 20s, mom to preschoolers, military spouse, looking for something of her own, chronic perfectionist, and people pleaser. So kind of how I use this to drive my content, I'm obviously posting a lot about moms, military life, feeling fulfilled by helping others is a big thing I like to talk about. And then I like to do a lot of hot mess posts to just keep it real. Like, my life isn't perfect. because I feel like a lot of moms put a lot of pressure on themselves. So I try and show that hot mess side as well, and also just to kind of offset that I used to be a perfectionist and people pleaser. So then I get down here, I have dog owner, planner obsessed, major sweet tooth and carb lover, enjoys wine, coloring, reading, and binge watching shows on Netflix and Hulu, curvy girl who continually struggles with weight, wants to lose baby weight, and then some, likes working out, passion for dance, heavily sarcastic, ulcerative colitis, struggled as a new mom, loves event planning, former workaholic, worries about being a good mom, constantly putting others' needs in front of her own, worries about deployment, wants to lose the weight before hubby comes home, loves online shopping and buying workout gear, and random declutterer. I just like purge my house when I get annoyed with it. So, so just like little things that kind of are you might see them as your quirks. But they're actually really great things to pull content from, because what you should really be doing with your avatar is you make one, it looks all pretty like this, you print it out and you put it somewhere in your office or where you work. And when you're coming up and you're trying to think of a post, you look at this list and it gives you automatic ideas of things, ways you should tailor your post to reach those people. So, when I'm going through, I'm like, okay, I want to talk about a recipe this week. Then I'm like, okay, well, how can I, instead of just being like, here's a great recipe, I love it, I'm like, oh, here's a recipe and my kid even ate it, whatever. I try and tailor it to be more specific to what I think other people in my niche are looking for. So that is a way that you can use it, is just have it there for you and pull from it. And that way it also, so you're not always posting about being a mom. You're not always posting about, ulcerative, whatever it is, like, so that way you spread out your topics. And it will make it easier when you're talking to people privately as well. So outside of posting, it'll give you a way to relate to people as well, because hopefully you'll start getting more interest from people that are more like you. When you're messaging with them, you can more easily talk to them, because you'll be like, oh, I totally understand that it's really hard when you're working 12 hours a day to fit in a workout, but like, this is how I do it, and like, I struggled with this too, but being able to like have Shakeology while I'm on the go, like that takes care of me having some healthy meals, and being able to just like get up early and get my workout in and have that accountability, like it makes me do it. Otherwise I wouldn't, whatever you have, whatever is your kind of story, it'll make you, it'll make it easier for you to build those relationships. Instead of just trying to kind of please everyone or try and get anyone, which I know in the beginning especially, it's really easy to just be like, well, I really just want to hit Success Club, or I really just want more coaches on my team. And, because we all fall into that trap. Like I've been there too, because you really do. You want to you want to reach those goals. But if you want the people that are going to stick around longer, it does help. And the ones that you want to work with and you feel like a lot more invested in their journey, it's going to be people that relate to you in some way. They're not going to be like, all of my people are going to look like this, like, and they're picking my little picture. But if I look at my team now, it's actually funny, because I did this avatar, I want to say last January. So, and I like probably didn't have anyone on my team that literally looked like that avatar. And now like a lot of my team does, but, so it just kind of depends. But I think if you start to really kind of hone in on kind of who you want to help, that's another thing. So the avatar obviously is partially you, but it's also kind of who you want to help, which I'm guessing you probably want to help people that are similar, that have gone through similar struggles, because you can show them the way. You have that solution because you've been there and you understand that. So, so for me, I really like military spouse moms are pretty much my main niche, because I feel like, I try and dig, it helps you find your why, because you have to dig deep. But a lot of it is like, I feel like a lot of times we're put behind our spouses because of their job. And so it is kind of hard to have a career and feel like you have a purpose outside of having kids or being a military spouse. So it kind of gives me something of my own. So a lot of the times, like, more of my people in my tribe now that are military spouses, they have that same feeling, even though our lives might not look exactly the same. So there's certain threads that you'll be able to pull to really just like weave an awesome little team and challengers that you'll be able to relate with better, and it'll make it more exciting for you to have those people that you can really connect with. So,
thanks, Lauren.
Yeah.
This was so helpful. Thanks for sharing your actual avatar that you created here. I would love if you could share it with me or something so that I can post it in our team page so that we can use that as a reference. I'm sure we're all trying to like write those things down, because it was cool to see how you took the questions and then you laid it out a little differently. I like with your quirks and like things that kind of define you and who you want to help. So that was helpful to see that. I can totally relate to the beginning process of my business. And like, I really struggled with posting. I didn't post much before this whole coaching thing started. Felt very uncomfortable. I was trying to hit anybody, like whatever, like, let me get Success Club. You work great. Let's do it. I think, in the first 2 years of my business, I cycled through like 2 whole teams because I was trying to figure out my brand and my niche. And for a lot of, and I still have a huge passion for this, but one of my niches and one of and Taylor probably knows because she's been around the longest with me, but that I was really focused on college students and post-grad students and young dancers that want to go to New York City because I was there for 12 years. I know what it's like to struggle paycheck to paycheck. I only wish I had this opportunity. And I did. I got to diamond with those people. But those people didn't last, and I really struggled with that because that's where my why was. That's where my passion and purpose was. But they're also 20 years old. They haven't been through like the challenges in the work environment that I have. They haven't worked for all the shitty bosses that I have. They haven't struggled. They don't know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck yet. So maybe they'll come around in 5 years, when I'm still here. But I really struggled with that, and it's taken me a while. And I think that we are super blessed because you are literally talking to 3 rock stars, leaders in the making. Like, I have no doubt you're going to see these girls a year and 2 years from now. Like, they are freaking awesome. I love these girls. I don't even know. It's like crazy how we connected because Taylor came through another coach that hit diamond that quit on me. And like Jacqueline came through Success like Club, or not even. She just signed up as a coach on Beachbody and was given to me as this gift, And like Lauren is a teacher at one of the schools, which is also a brand and niche that I want to really target because I know how teachers struggle. Like, I know that teachers are underpaid for the work that they do. I know that they care about kids. I know that they care about service, and they, in my opinion, aren't recognized and rewarded financially for it. And, that's definitely like a group of people that I want to connect with. And I just think personality wise, we were all super lucky. We got to meet in Denver last Super Saturday and just got along. And I think I honestly think about like our diamond retreats in the future, like how we're just going to have so much fun and adventures, like, and just have a blast together. And so we're super blessed to have found each other. These girls are running together. And I'm looking forward to like going back to this. Like, Lauren Friedman, you said you did this a year ago in your business, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this a year and a half later. I'm so glad to be at this point doing this with my newbie coaches right now and like growing with you girls. So I'm super excited for this work that you've given us. Like, I'm very excited, and if you guys are anything like me, it's exciting. You're like really enthusiastic about it, but you're also like a little overwhelmed because it's going to take time to think about these questions. And I don't want you guys to feel like you have to do this overnight or you have to do this week, but I think it'll be cool. We can kind of go through the process together and, maybe work on 1 or 2 questions throughout the week and kind of share our stuff on our team page. And I don't know if I'm cheating, Lauren, but I feel like with the first avatar list you gave us, I'm like, those are some good Facebook posts. Well, let me just find out what my people like. What was the last event you attended? And let's get people's comments, like, what's your favorite guilty pleasure? Like, bam, it's a Facebook it's a Facebook post to help build my avatar. So that's where my head's at anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm trying to think, when we did the exercise, when I had this exercise done and I was going through it, they said, and what you can do is, if you really want to get nitty gritty, like every time something new comes out with Beachbody, so like a new program comes out, like Shift Shop comes out, you sit there and you're like, okay, like how would my avatar like feel about this program? And then you kind of write down, so you kind of already know how to approach it and explain the program in terms that are going to matter to them. So, for me, I could be like, oh, well, for moms, it's short. So it's like starts out 25 minutes and at 35. So it's like slowly builds up, but you can get that in nap time, whatever it is. So you kind of pull it in there. Or same thing with UV2. Like I need to sit down and do that because I'm not really sure fully yet how that's going to fit with my market. But I've been thinking more along the lines of like the kids channel, like, woo, like dancing with, I don't know. So there's, sorry.
Yeah,
our
team's not into it. Our team thought it was a joke.
I did too. I was like, oh, when's like the actual workout gonna like pop up and be like, yeah, I was wondering too. I was like waiting for like someone to be like it to pause and then like someone to walk out and be like, no, this isn't happening. Like, but it's real. It's real, guys, because I did do the preview workout. I didn't do it. I watched it. So I know it will appeal to a certain market. It's just it's not really my market. But I do somehow weirdly have like grandma types, so that also fall into my market. So maybe it will appeal to them because they'll remember Richard Simmons and be like, let's bring that back. I don't know. But that's kind of the idea. It's like when they release new flavors of Shakeology, like, okay, like if you're a person who likes vegan, you're like, oh yeah, like hell yes. Like, and then that day I was like messaging all my people who love vegan Shakeology. I'm like, there are new flavors now, So having that in mind, especially like, are you guys all going to Summit? Please say yes, right? Yeah. So at Summit, when they're like announcing all those things and your mind is just going to be blown, because that's how I felt at Summit. It's like, oh, now I have to go home and like think about all these amazing things that are coming out. You can kind of use it and apply your avatar, and you'll already know what struggles they're facing and things like that, so that you can already battle those objections ahead of time. So I hope it helps. Thank you for having me.
So awesome, Lauren. Thank you so much for being with us. You guys, we probably have like a minute before it dies out. If you guys do you have any questions for Lauren?
You can also message me. I'm around.
I just wanted to say thank you for those ideas. I think I've been doing like the spaghetti approach of just seeing what sticks and just to kind of focus it a little bit more. I didn't even think about that
as much. That way.
I'm doing some of the things naturally, but it's nice to just say, oh, okay, this is what I should be doing, and not take it personally or focus on the long term as opposed to, just now. Success Club.
Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad it helped. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. You guys are all so cute. Like, I love your team, Kris.
We rock.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to meet you guys at Summit this year. So thank you for having me. And if you think of anything, let me know. And I'd love to see your avatars when you do them.
We will. We'll share them with you. Promise.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks, Lauren. Have a good night.